2017 Nissan Murano. We're doing struts on the front and we're doing the entire strut assembly. You don't necessarily have to replace the spring when you're buying the struts, but if you don't, then that means you got to have a spring compressor, and you'll have to take the old ones off and take the spring compressor, remove those springs, swap them, and then you got to swap these parts too. And if the bushing's bad in it, then you end up replacing these too. So if you're going to do it, you may just want to do the whole assembly. But if you want to do the spring compressor, if you just have the struts, you'll probably have to find another video that shows you how to use a spring compressor. I've already removed the wheels and jacked it up, so I'm gonna assume you know how to do that much. And we've got two bolts here. These are 21 millimeters, so you need, big socket wrench, probably a 1/2 inch would be good to break these loose, and then a wrench or another socket wrench on the opposite side. Then here, this is a stabilizer link, and this is 18, and we're gonna break this loose here with the socket and hold the back of it with the wrench, and the wrench size on the back is a 19. So we'll hold it there, break it loose here, comes right off. This clip for this brake hose is the other thing. We need to really you're just supposed to grab it here and pull it off, and you kind of wiggle it, and usually it comes off pretty easy. But if they're old and rusty like this one is, they could be a bit of a pain, so you might have to get a screwdriver and kind of break it loose, spray some PB Blaster on it before you start. Everything here has been sprayed with PB Blaster. There's also an ABS sensor here, and this just pops out, so all you'll do is just grab it like that and pop it out. And this one here too. So no tools for that. So there's a total of 4 things that you got to remove down here. So your stabilizer link, you're going to disconnect the spindle here with these 2 bolts, and then take this clip out here to remove that brake hose and the ABS line that I just showed you. Once you do that, then you'll come up to the top and you'll take 3 bolts out of the top, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But first I'm going to show you what it looks like once you got those pieces removed. So I've already taken these bolts out here, and I've left one in there just so the spindle's not hanging. I pulled this clip out, and when this is in position, it's like that, and you put that clip in and it wedges it. See how it won't pull through? So when you put that clip in, it wedges it in there. So that clip can be a little tricky. Here's what the clip looks like if you're not familiar with them. See how it's got that lip? So when it's on there, you can grab it right here and pull it. You wiggle it and pull it. But if it's all rusted up and stuff on there, then you want to break it loose somehow. Get a screwdriver behind it a little bit. Don't pry and bend it too much if you want to reuse it. So everything else is loose down here. This ABS wire I haven't pulled off, and I'm going to do that. Ow. But I'm going to show you up here at the top exactly what you got to do to get these 3 bolts out. So normally, a lot of cars, you have quick access to these bolts and you don't have anything in the way. But this one, we do have the wiper cowl in the way. So I didn't know this because I'm just going off my experience, and I started to just remove the cowl, and I pulled out these grommets, which I think these grommets you could still use, still be useful to pull them out. But what I'm getting at is, I thought I was gonna have to remove the whole cowl. You don't. There's a plastic piece here that pops out on both sides, and you can see it connects to that rubber seal. So when you pop it out, it's still gonna be hanging here, and you can just squeeze that little tab to release it, so you could swing it out the way. See, if I actually wanted to pull it out, I'd squeeze these things here and pull those simultaneously. But that's what I'm talking about. This is where it connects to that part. I'll show you on the other side. So anyways, there's 3 bolts for the strut mount. There's one here. I've already removed one here, and there's another one back here that you can't see. And you'll pull that thing out, and then you'll feel in there for this rubber stopper. and when you pull that stopper out, it's right there. So you can get your ratchet in there and break it loose, no problem. So I haven't pulled this one out on the other side, so you can kind of see here. It's really not hard to do. See how easy that was? And then it comes right out. But I've actually pulled this one out, and I put it back in place so that you can see what I'm doing, because here's the rubber stopper. And again, you know, it's right here. So where my middle finger is actually, I'm touching the bolt. So you can't really see in there, but you can get your ratchet in there. And then here's the other bolt and the final bolt. So total of 3. And this one is actually ready to drop. So I'm going to take those 3 bolts out, get that one out, grab this strut, come over here, put it in place, and then do the other side. And I guess I'll pick back up after I get them back in place. But that about covers it. I think I told you all the sizes that you need, and it's a pretty simple job. You know, it's a little tedious. It's hard to break those strut mount bolts loose, or spindle bolts. These are going to be, you know, high torque. I don't know what the exact torque is. I'm going to tighten them up real tight if I can't look up the torque and find what the torque's supposed to be at, because I do have a torque wrench. So that's why I have both wheels off the ground, because once I get them tight, I'm going to go to the other side, finish the other one, and then I'll come back and torque everything all at once. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you have to do that, but when you're breaking those bolts loose, especially these ones here, you're going to want to know how much strength you're putting into it, because you're going to want to do about the same amount when you put them back. They're pretty tough. You shouldn't have to worry about breaking it or anything. It'd be kind of hard to over torque. They're going to be pretty high torque. These ones up here are a little bit different. You want to make sure they're as tight as they're supposed to be, and you may not want to over torque these, but these are important that you get them nice and snug the way they should be. Alright, so let me wrap up what I'm doing here, and I'll show you some more. Alright, just so I'm going to give a little bit of a visual here, so you can see I removed that bolt there, and this one here. So there and there, and then the one on the inside that you can't really see, but you can see that light coming up through there. That's where the strut was. See the space there? Alright, and I've already got it loose from the spindle, so it's ready to come out. Okay, so all I did was just wiggle it, and that's about it. Now I'm ready to pull it loose, and it's out of there. So you see, when you're getting it back up in there, to get those first couple bolts started, it may be a little tricky, because, you know, it's kind of heavy. So if you don't have a second person, I'm not sure exactly what's the best way to do it. Worst case scenario, you could put the hook it up to the spindle, and, you know, slide the bolts in, and get a jack and jack it up under it, so that it lifts up. But just be careful that you leave some slack. Don't jack it to where it's like pushing the car up. You know, you just want it so that it's able to reach, so you can start those bolts. Because once you start those bolts, it'll draw it up. So just don't put too much pressure if you have to do it that way. But if you can, you're probably just going to hold it with one hand and get one of these bolts started. Once you get one started, it'll be easier to get the rest going. So that's what I'm going to do. And if I have to use the jack or something, I'll get a little bit of film on it. So the strut's in. These strut mount bolts up here are in, and they're tight. These two are tight here. Put the ABS sensor cable back, and I got to put this clip back for the brake hose. And I had to get the jack here to get the stabilizer link lined up. Now, you could probably pry on it or use your weight and push it and get it down to line it up with that hole to get it in. But it was just, I was wrestling with it too much, so I just grabbed the jack and jacked it up. And that's probably what you're going to have to do, because you're going to be fighting with it otherwise. Unless maybe you take the other side loose, then you could get one side in easier. So like if the other stabilizer link was loose on the other side, then I could have got this one in pretty easy. So if you do that, you'll only have to jack up one side, because then once you have one side in, it's going to put tension on that stabilizer bar. So I just wanted to add that. And then these things come with bolts. Now, I don't know where you're going to get yours from, but I ordered mine from Parts Geek. They're not sponsoring me, and I don't like to give free advertisements, but that's where I get my parts from. I get the parts from them fairly often, and I've never had any problems. But with these, they gave me these bolts that are not long enough. I wouldn't say not long enough. They're just long enough. So they just bottom out at the bottom of the top strut mount. So there's very little room when you're getting that back one in. So to get these two front ones in, if you use the new ones, not a big deal. To get that back one in, on that side particularly, it was a nightmare. Maybe if I had two people and I had someone to move the strut around and line it up, but like I was talking about earlier, the strut's heavy, so you got to get one of these bolts started, and then as you're getting all of them in, you can't tighten one down or any of them down until you get them all in and get them all started, and then you kind of tighten them evenly. So you don't want to tighten one and then the other, so you kind of bounce back and forth till you get them all nice and tight. So in this case, I reused the original ones. Now, when you're doing this, if your bolts are rusted out, I would say maybe reusing the old ones is not the best idea. But if they're not real rusted, just reuse them. They're longer, and if you get new ones like I did, they have these washers separately. So when you're going in to get this one in the rear, it goes into a hole. Like I showed you, you have to pull out this rubber stopper. So it's actually a hole there. So that means you got to get that bolt with the washer and get it started simultaneously while you got one hand under the car moving the strut around or whatever. And even it was just a nightmare. So I just used the longer one, and it made it a little bit easier. And I don't see any problem with just reusing them. As I said, if they're rusted out, if they're real rusty, maybe you don't want to do it. But otherwise, you may have to go that route if you run into the problem like I just did. Other than that, that's the only thing I need to add here for now. So I'm about to move to this side and do this side, but these are tightened up here. That's tightened down there. I'm going to put that clip in, and then I'm going to see what the torque is and torque these down to what they're supposed to be. I got to put this nut back on here, so I'll get it tight as I can, and then put that wrench on the back of it and then snug it down tighter. Put that clip on, and then this side's pretty much done. Okay, we're all wrapped up. I didn't get any more video. I hope I didn't miss anything, but I think I covered everything, and it's all wrapped up now. And I don't know how good a look that you got before I started here, but this thing is sitting up much higher. I just took it for a ride. It rides so much smoother, and yep, that about wraps it up.